Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene set in Vampire the Masquerade. Sells at midnight. Tonight we set the scene at Port Royal, just south of the northern docks, inside an illustrious manor house, where Macaria and her child have elected to meet once more. Macaria stands in her usual clothes and with her necklace and bright red centerpiece. The curtains are closed for as dim firelight that brightens the room. And she sits waiting for her child as she just relaxes, having feasted for the day.
Mary will you can hear the soft footfalls of her feet coming down the stairs. She's not dressed up really nicely at the moment. She's probably just wearing like something simple that she'd probably sleep in. Her hair is down. Her hair is actually very long. It comes down to about the small of her back. It kind of like very, very nearly touches her butt. But she has very, very long hair. And it's loose, yet still stylized a little bit to sleep in. But she looks rather comfortable, and she comes into wherever Macaria is, and she grabs a book off the shelf and will probably sit in her favorite chair or on her favorite couch or something.
Macaria, however people wish to pronounce it, is just sitting on the couch.
Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
I'm well.
You got up uncharacteristically late this evening.
Oh, I was just tired. I also just got out of the bath, so she could probably smell that she's wearing some kind of probably floral oil perfume or something like that. It's very light. It's not overbearing at all, but it's also very kind of heady a little bit. So, but yeah, she'll sit down and she'll crack open the book. There looks like there's a bookmark in it, maybe, and she starts reading it.
How have you been doing?
I'm okay, I suppose. Just still adjusting to things at the moment. And how are you?
As I've always been. For the past 200 years or so.
Well, yes, I'm glad that the fighting is over, at least for the time being. My excursion to Nassau was enlightening, to say the least. And perhaps worrying a little bit.
She does fold her arms as she hears you mention Nassau, and she'll simply say, "Yes, and how was Nassau?"
She automatically claps the book closed and sets it down. Um, Dirty. Um, People need to learn how to use soap, I think. Um, I gained the acquaintance of what was his name? Vane and Captain Hornigold, I do believe. But other than that, there was, as I told you earlier, a bit of an issue regarding the ship, but that isn't our problem. So.
She's going to continue politely staring at you, expecting something.
She will. She kind of like scoots over to the edge of the couch, and she kind of folds her hands into her lap and looks up at her. And she like bites her bottom lip a little bit, and if she could blush, she probably would be blushing. Sorry, I um needed a breath of fresh air, as it were.
I'm not even sure if it's worth me rolling to perceive her aura, just because I know I'll get over 5 successes anyway, because this is the one thing this character is good at.
I mean, you could go ahead and roll. Like,
I'm gonna go ahead and roll just for the sake of.
I'm gonna pull up the chart. Hang on, so I can get the colors.
Oh, I only get 4 successes because of multiple 2s. Sorry, multiple 1s. That's still basically everything, though. So.
Okay, so how many? What does that give you? Like, how many colors does that give you, or does it tell you everything?
No, 5 gives me absolutely everything. 4 just gives me almost everything.
Okay.
I know I'd perceive. I'd know if you had Davos, someone I'd see.
Right. So she's
4 successes. Shade, main color patterns, subtle shifts.
okay. So obviously the colors are pale. There's the aura is very static like and scrambled. There's some hang on, what was it? Some white and probably orange in there, mixed with like little pinpricks of violet.
She places her hand on your head and sort of lightly pats your hair. I expect you to tell me next time you deign to leave this island. Remember what happened the last time you ran off on your own? You worry me.
I wasn't doing anything that I wasn't supposed to be doing, I promise. I didn't use any disciplines. I didn't talk to anybody I wasn't supposed to talk to. I was just wondering what was going on. I kind of, uh,
Those
I kind
those
of,
things are
uh,
not always obvious, Rosemary.
uh, I kind of hitchhiked into the hold of the ship and hid. Yeah, uh, I'm sorry. I mean, I thought I left you a note telling you where I was going, but I guess it didn't reach you.
Her eyes flatten to man. If her eyes could have become 2-dimensional, they would have been. um, she says, "Next time, you will ask me permission as opposed to asking for forgiveness. Do you understand?"
She just nods. Her aura has shifted to um, silver. I don't necessarily know that there's one for being embarrassed, but I guess silver would be the best one.
Yeah, just double checking. Never isn't, so yeah.
She seems nervous and a little bit sad.
Nassau is not safe for our people right now. Not while the anarchs are running rampant and there is talk of some sort of plague. I do not wish to see you any more at risk than you currently are.
I didn't realize that there was a plague. Did it originate there?
I believe it has to do with what was on the Harbinger originally. Cursed treasure, if I recall.
Well, the Harbinger's back, so. Like, they brought it back.
Perhaps to reverse what they had caused when they initially raided the ship, or perhaps they simply wanted another war machine to add to their arsenal. Perhaps both. Doesn't really matter to me.
I see. I think that they seemed more interested in the size of the ship rather than anything else. But they did say that they wanted what was on it. Still, when they made the deal, I think the gold was included in that deal.
Then perhaps they wish to undo the damage they had caused to themselves.
Perhaps. I'm feeling very. I don't know. Part of me, maybe this is just my youth speaking, but I don't know. Part of me feels like if the anarchs were more organized, they'd be good allies for us.
They make good allies disorganized. They're simply less of a threat to us as they are now. Funnily enough, for all their ranting and raving and rebellion against the Ivory Tower, they really only have themselves to blame for their impotence. I remember the nights when the Anarchs were strong.
Do you believe that they could be again?
Only if they rediscover their roots. Tyler, for all her mistakes, the presence that she brought to those around her, the passion and conviction behind her ideals, are what lent her such a gathering, such strength, such a movement. And she backed up that passion with action. She did more than just speak against, well, those she wished to destroy. She made the point to those around her that they could be beaten. She not only sparked she not only sparked the rage that caused the revolt, many look to the movement and believe it is comprised purely of spiteful, angry people. It is not true. What Tyler did is she gave people hope.
I mean,
It's an extremely dangerous weapon.
It is an extremely dangerous weapon. I feel like so many of the anarchs have this idealism about them that it's going to be their undoing at some point.
I would argue the opposite. I don't think they believe in anything other than themselves.
I mean, having hope and faith in yourself can move mountains.
No, you misunderstand. They act purely selfishly. They seek only to do as they will, to pillage and plunder and commit acts of cruelty. That is the basis of their freedom.
Then
it is not to seek betterment, it is not to seek real change. It is not to build anything.
It's just anarchy.
It is, yes. The Anarch Revolt was coined by elders such as myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was a political tool.
I understand.
Tyler was wise, took on the term and detoxified it. But many more failed to understand why they were called Anarchs and why Tyler worked so hard to give that name a new meaning.
So, where is she now?
I don't know. I don't think she is as far as...
Hang on.
Oh.
I gonna have to pop out of here right quick. Sorry. I'm getting a call.
Okay, BRB. Well, in any case, Saria is going to continue to lecture her childe and pat her head and offer a seat next to her. And she'll look into the past and future of her child, engaging all the many possible threads. She gazes upon the mottled colours of her aura, her current state, her confusion, her curiosity, her guilt, her sadness, her innocence. She gazes into her mind and picks out the moments that she was within Nassau. She looks upon the memories of Hornigold and Vane with great interest. She has not met them. But if Rosemary has, perhaps there's an opportunity to do so. And she takes the book from her child. She picks it up, opens it, reads it, finds the page her child had finished on. Being who she is, she can feel more than just the texture of the page. She can sense the emotion her child had when she read it. It is fresh in her mind, fresh off the page, as if the book itself were newly printed.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I had to deal with food order later. Sorry.
Macaria had just taken your book and was just kind of reading the emotions that you had when you read off the pages. And to her, it's very much like as if it were freshly printed ink. Yeah.
She let me pull up the aura perception chart again.
That's fine.
It's with the book, she's very calm, and idealistic. So it's light blue, yellow, white, and vermilion.
Yeah, she
And the it's sharp flickering colors, so she's like daydreaming, supposedly.
she's also offered you a seat next to her.
She will sit down next to Masaria. She's wearing like I've got a gift for it, but I don't know that I'm gonna be able to use it. Let me pop out and pop back in real quick. Sorry.
No problem.
Because I don't think I can edit my avatar from here. All right, hold on.
Come on, little child, get back here. Ba. Do. Little roast meat gone missing again. She gone obfuscate. Like a silly bee.
There.
Fair.
I don't have minicam on the computer right now,
That's fine.
so sorry.
That's fine. Macaria. I can't remember what she's actually talking about. She'll she'll look at she'll look at her child. And she'll say, "How have your studies been?"
They're progressing. Haven't had a lot of opportunity to practice necessarily, but at least on particular things, but I'm still progressing. She seems to be normally she seems to be very outspoken in whatever finery she might be wearing, but around Macaria she's very very modest, I think. And it's like being around her kind of helps calm her a bit.
Okay. I just wondered, for I know you're very talented at changing people's minds, but you do not seem to have inherited my talent for perceiving them, which I find very interesting.
I don't think that I have. I don't. I can. Well, I mean, you know what I can do. I'm.
Then let us practice together.
She nods. Okay. How shall we practice?
If there is one thing that many kindred will expect from you, insofar as anyone can expect anything from a Malkavian, it is that you will be expected to know things that they do not.
Are we well known for that?
We are the clan of seers, my dear.
Oh, well, I do suppose you're right.
But our understanding is measured quite significantly differently from that of Clan Nosferatus.
Because I don't believe I've ever. No, I do take that back. I do believe. Um, um, Seneschal is a member of Clan Nosferatu, is he not?
Yes, and the
Um,
Mistress of Harpies, his child.
I see. Right, I understand. I do believe Fishmouth is also
Yes.
of Clan Nosferatu. Is that why the Seneschal wears a mask?
The Nosferatu are much how we are afflicted with a fracturing of the mind. Their fracturing is far more visceral and physical.
Like,
They're an external reflection of ourselves in many ways.
I suppose that it does explain why the Seneschal wears a mask.
I do not understand why he does. Elders of his clan are seldom ashamed of their condition.
Has anybody asked him?
I may. Although I have asked him very different questions.
Like what?
Hmm. She looks thoughtful. I do not believe I could tell you, lest I put you at more risk than you put yourself in.
I mean, who's to know?
We have our ways.
This is true. Just as you have your ways of deciphering things, I'm sure others, members of other clans, have those abilities too. That being said, I do find it rather curious why the Seneschal wears a mask.
I believe it is quite deeply connected to his past that he has gone to great lengths to veil from the rest of the world. Much of it is ancient history by our standards.
I suppose it explains why he recoiled the way that he did when I tried to touch his face.
Yes. But in doing so, you learned much about him. A detail that I don't think any would have been able to learn had it not been for that simple sense of innocent boldness.
Do you think he's scared, or is he more? Do you think he's more ashamed of who he is? And if so, what reason does he have to be ashamed of who he is?
That is something I think only time will answer.
I have a genuine curiosity about this. He seems very gallant, I think, and
Well, should you become as well mastered of the arts of the sight that I am, you may one night be able to know.
I should like to.
I can tell you a lot of things that have happened on Nassau and Havana, and I have not even been there.
Well,
I can tell you that Zemi's decision to release the sheriff was met with much controversy amongst the anarchs. I can tell you many were not happy with it. I can tell you that they died from their curse. Or rather, they were killed not just because of what they did to their crew, but because of the curse they inherited from that which they took from the Harbinger.
I do believe. I think that the I don't know who he is, but he's a very strange-looking individual. Um, and she'll begin to describe the auctioneer. Because she wasn't at the auction, so she has no idea who he is. Uh, I think he mentioned something about the sarcophagus being able to put you back together somehow, or give you
Yes,
back parts of yourself that you had lost.
with the sacrifice of many, one can become whole through their pieces.
But
And of course, Faye, being ever the opportunistic thief that she is,
was
she sought to take from her own crew. But these are the methods of Sabat and are ill-befitting of an anarch.
so it's somewhat of
She dug her grave, and then she bought it, and then she lied in it.
I think it's a horrible irony, to be honest, because she sacrificed part of herself and her connection to humanity to regain her humanity, or to regain a part of herself that she lost. That doesn't make any sense.
She left her humanity behind a long time ago. When I looked upon her, there was no human part of her left, be it in her fey-like form or in her soul. She had devoted herself to the ways of the beast.
I suppose that
A seeker of knowledge, a scholar who seeks to tear down the very society that allows for such discovery,
I
for such education, for such...
Rosemary kind of has this look on her face that conveys. She looks flabbergasted, almost. Not that she doesn't understand what Macaria is saying, but she seems more flabbergasted at the fact that a scholar usually signifies somebody that is intelligent, and Faye did not convey such intelligence in her actions.
There'll be more wisdom.
Or wisdom, I suppose, but
Mm.
common sense, perhaps.
You know, wisdom's a dump stamp for wizards, just letting you know. Sort of Tremere in a nutshell. But yeah.
It's true, though. It's true.
That 6 wisdom sorcerer. Faye represents what the Anarchs are now. Hypocritical and disinterested in any real thought to building something better, detached from the vision that led to their rebellion to begin with. It is sad to see. I can respect kindred such as Blackbeard and Zemi for the conviction of their own ideals, that they seek something more out of this existence. Even if I am of the tower, I can understand and accept their beliefs what they are.
I think, doesn't it have to do with the tower provides stability for what we are? It does.
Yes,
I
it
won't-
is.
I
It is
won't-
safe.
I won't deny that. That being said, there is. It's not. I believe that anarchs represent a meritocracy in a lot of ways. And whereas Camarilla We deal more with feudalism, no?
Well, one can have a feudal meritocracy.
This is
Perhaps in an ideal world you would be
this is true.
correct.
This is true.
It is what many anarchs aspire to, or at least I would like to believe. I have been proven very wrong, it seems, which has led to my disappointment. There are a few that truly aspire to something different than the Camarilla, at least different in the sense that it could be considered a society, a something, an entity. This movement, this fraction of it is nothing more than, well, an
This
incoherent mass of selfish animals. Those who merely wish the freedom to destroy and do whatever they wish. They are anarchs in the purest sense of the term, or rather anarchists. But they are destructive. They are nothing. They do not believe in anything.
they don't
They
they don't they they
they
don't
simply wish. They simply wish to take.
they don't wish to grow.
No,
They don't
or
wish
rather,
to better themselves to meet the standards that they say that they have. Or
they are
perhaps wish that they had.
they are barely any different from the Sabbat. The Sabbat, while they claim to have an overarching ideology, while they claim to possess true freedom in the supposed destruction of their so-called antediluvians, they're anything but. They bind each other with blood. They are ruled in much the same way that the Camarilla is ruled. In fact, they're even stricter, even more rigid, even more hierarchical.
I find that ironic because aren't they supposed to say that they believe that they're free to be who they are internally, but they don't do that. They restrict themselves further to each other.
They they are broken. I know Lucian.
He scares me.
He should. He is a very dangerous and cruel man. Although I think he'd take offense to being called a man, but he is.
I do believe I met his child Ava at one point
Ava.
in what was it? Where were we? That tavern. And she snaps her fingers like she's trying to remember. Um, oh right,
Oh, yes,
the
that
ox.
one.
The ox. Uh,
Yes, I know of this one. She volunteered to destroy Faye.
well, she didn't end up being the one to do it in the end.
No, but.
And I do. Rosemary will kind of cover her mouth and giggle a little bit. I do believe that the auctioneer accused her of being promiscuous.
Perhaps she is. I don't really care. But.
She shrugs. It's of no concern to me.
She. Like her sire, she is. Running from the truth. Ironic, really. He said of many of us, all of us even, but one day she'll have to deal with her demon. But we have.
What is her demon, her sire?
Yes.
Well, hopefully,
Perhaps more importantly, her fear of him.
hopefully she won't have to suffer through that alone. Not all sires, I suppose, are as kind or as loving and caring as you are.
Hmm. She will give Rosemary a brief embrace for the compliment. Very much a cookie. A cookie for you, as it were. But she will say, well, the Sabbat, yes, they do not treat their childe kindly if they treat them with anything at all. Many childe are simply fodder, kidnapped, murdered, and then thrown in mass graves, left to devour each other. The Sabbat are not. It is why our faction rarely, if ever, bothers to speak with them.
They
They
sound
tread the line between.
they sound like animals
Many of
who
them are, most of them are.
who
They.
masquerade as religious fanatics.
Oh, they are that as well. They believe they have a naturally. A natural right to dominion over all things, over humanity, over the earth. That they are the only ones free from the control of their elders, from the ancients, the antediluvians, as they are so called. But they are not. Their elders run the sect. Their regent controls everything from the top down. Those at the bottom are packs, cells of monsters that war with each other on the regular, murdering each other for us. Those at the top rarely deal with the consequences, if
They
at all, simply
are
watching.
they are one day going to consume themselves.
Yes, although it will be many centuries from now, they
Be
will
that
continue to fight.
be that as it may, they one day it all will have to end. And when that day comes, they will still think that they are right.
Make sure you are around for that night.
I will do my best.
But we still have not practiced.
No, we haven't. Um, what would you like for me to practice? The sight?
Yes, you are an amateur in the sight. And I will not have that of one of my line.
She kind of just smirks and smiles a bit. Very well.
You will perceive my aura. You will figure out what I am feeling, and through discovering my emotions, through discovering the skin of my soul, you will discover my thoughts.
Okay. So she's going to kind of. She's not going to concentrate very hard. She's trying to relax and kind of clear her mind of all the chatter, as it were. But she kind of leans back against one side of the couch and she crosses her arms in front of herself, and she actually puts her feet up on the couch a little bit, but she still has like slippers on. Um, and she takes a deep breath, even though she doesn't need to, and she closes her eyes for a moment and exhales, kind of like making a little O with her lips, and then breathes out. And then she opens her eyes and she looks at Macaria and she doesn't blink for very long. Probably a good 5 to 10 minutes. She just sits there trying to concentrate on perceiving her aura.
She is very still when you look at her. You can heighten your senses. You see everything about her in fine detail, the strands of her hair, the blue of her eyes, the texture of her skin.
Rosemary will actually lean forward and like tuck her hair behind her ear a little bit.
What is Rosemary's thought process as she tries to perceive Macaria's aura?
Um, her thought process. She is heightened her senses, her sight, and she, I guess her thought process is she focuses on Masaria's facial expressions, um, whether or not she's fidgeting, if there's any tension in her neck or anything like that. She concentrates very heavily on this. I think probably because Masaria can probably assume that she's wanting to make her proud. But she's concentrating very heavily, but she's also trying to remain calm and relaxed so she doesn't get distracted.
After a few minutes pass, Masaria will take the first movement she's actually made in the past few minutes, and she'll say, I believe you are thinking too literally. You must think more laterally.
I see. I see.
Do not look at what is in front of you. Do not look at me, look into me.
I think I understand. And she'll try to do just that.
Okay. You want to make a perception empathy roll?
I actually don't have 2,000 aspects. I don't know if I can do that.
Oh no! I just we're doing a thematic thing. So
okay, so perception. Would fine details come into play here?
yes, you can. Will be difficulty. Well, says difficulty 8 because you don't actually have the ability. You don't really. Yeah, you don't really have the skill to do it properly yet.
Are you the anonymous armadillo? Looking at my sheet.
Oh yes, I am. Which I find offensive. I am clearly a sheep. What is this nonsense?
All right, so perception, fine details would come into play here, or no?
Yeah, fine details comes into
I'm
play.
gonna go ahead and burn a willpower. I'm gonna have to go soon because I have to order pizza.
We're gonna. This was the final part of the scene. So.
All right, what's the difficulty you said?
Difficulty 8.
I have a single success. Yay!
Oh, where did you roll?
Under the miscellaneous dice roller.
Okay.
It's because they're doing a scene and I don't want to get things jumbled up.
Okay.
Sorry.
Which one?
It's the last one under the dice rolls.
In scene roll 1 and 2 is open, but it doesn't matter. You get 2 successes of your willpower.
Oh right, yeah.
So it is, but for the barest few seconds, that when you take Masaria's advice on board, you sort of flip your perspective. You flip your process. You flip your thought process on its head. A course of action that is surprisingly easy for a Malkavian. It is almost as if you are touching upon a part of yourself that was not there before. That has never been there before, or perhaps it's just been asleep. But when you do, you see, for about 2 to 3 seconds, a very pale shade of the color pink. It is it just flickers, kind of like fireflies. But then is gone as soon as you can blink.
I think I did it. You are feeling compassionate about something? I saw pink.
You have been listening. She will. She reaches over to pat you on the head as if you did good.
She
It's
she's
very affectionate.
she's very happy. She looks very proud of herself for doing this. And it's like she's achieved a goal that she has wanted to do, and it's like she feels like she made her mom proud.
How long did it last?
Only a few seconds.
Hmm. Then you are not quite there yet.
I can keep
You soon.
I can keep
Yes.
practicing.
Yes, practice on the mortals that pass you by. It is a good way to learn. Their auras, their souls are brighter than ours. A quirk of our condition, I think. There are. Hmm. The soul of every being is different.
Mm-hmm.
And so often you can tell the nature of something, whether it is mortal, kindred,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual,
I see.
faithful, mystical.
Hmm.
And you'll come to learn in time the complexities of the soul. What you have seen is a bare glimmer.
Hmm.
The emotions of those around you, what they believe and think and do as they act,
I see.
um, how the colors shift, how the souls shift, simply from the steps that they take. There is much complexity in it that in time I am confident you will learn.
I'm
In
really glad.
time in time you'll learn to perceive whole crowds, gatherings. You'll learn how to pick out that one special person in, well, the sea of colors. But that is something that will come in time. I am quite proud of you this evening. You are a quick study, as you always have been.
I will continue to practice, and hopefully in time that will come and I will learn more. Thank you for your help.
I'm always here to help, Rosemary.
And she smiles and she like reaches over and squeezes her hand.
Speaking of mortals, would you like to go hunting now?
I am quite famished, yes.
My followers, they like you. They see you as a champion of sorts, I think.
Why so, I wonder?
Well, that is a question of a very obvious answer.
Mm. she chuckles a little bit. I do suppose that it is. Hmm. Wow.
Let me take
Uh,
you to them.
okay. Should I get dressed or is this fine?
Yes. Hmm. You have not yet mastered the art of changing your face, so perhaps, yes, it would be wise for you to get dressed.
I shall go and get dressed. And she'll she'll stand up and she spins around like on her feet really quickly, and she looks really happy with herself. And she kind of runs up the stairs and to get dressed.
And I think with that, we can end the scene there.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
And thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Bye.